Welcome to the Sheffield Cat Shelter. This is a brief guide to the morning cat room duties.
Hi everyone, so this is the introduction to room 1. We've got the lovely Jack and Loki in here, and we've also got Jen, who's going to be showing you some of the things that we do during the morning cleaning duties. So if we just have a look around the room, you'll see that we've got different activities for the cats, including this cat run that runs along one of the walls there. We've got plenty of cat trees, cat beds, scratching posts, toys, their litter trays there on the floor, and then we've got obviously water dishes and their food dishes from this morning. So this is a basic layout of the communal rooms that we have at the shelter. They are quite comfortable for the cats. They've also got a 2-door system, an airlock system, which just makes it easier to get in and out without any of the cats escaping. So we would open the first door, go into the lobby, close that door behind us, making sure no cats have followed, and then we would turn and obviously go through the external door and outside into the main shelter. Now the equipment in here, we've got a brush, we've got a mop, we've got a dustpan and brush and bucket, and our ladder that we will use. These are colour coded just for this room. Now we're going to start off by emptying the water dishes into the empty bucket before we start, so that we're not spilling water anywhere if we're trying to carry a full water dish to the kitchen. We're going to pick up all the small toys, the hard plastic toys, like the little jingly balls and ping pong balls, pop them in the bucket as well, and they're just easier to carry that way. The soft toys that are in the room, you'll just leave in here for the cats. They normally go through to their new homes with them. And then once your bucket's loaded up, you can take that through to the kitchen for everything to be disinfected. Now, starting with the cleaning of the room, you're going to get your bucket with your disinfectant solution in that, and a microfiber cloth. Whenever you're using these in here, you want to give it a good wring out so that you're not absolutely saturating the walls and the sides that you're cleaning. We're going to start from the top and work our way down, so we're getting the highest part of the wall that we can reach first using the step ladders, and then we're going to be doing the run, so that's all of the little boxes, all of the ramps and the steps, basically anything that the cats could touch or breathe on, sneeze on, is going to get wiped down and disinfected. We do have a high standard of cleaning here at the shelter. That's obviously all for the benefit of the cats and their health. Okay, so now we're moving on to wiping the walls down underneath the cat run. So you're going to do all these walls the same as you did the ones above, going all the way around the room this time. So you're going to get everything, including your windows, your doors, the radiator, all of the walls basically that the cats could, as I say, sneeze on or touch, rub against. You're also going to do the sides while you're at this level. Just giving them a good wipe down with a cloth that's been wrung out quite well. All the sides, including the ones that the cats are sat on, will get done, and we'll show you how to move the cats a little bit later on when we get there. We have a couple of hard beds up here as well, the hard plastic beds. So what we do with these is just remove the bedding and any toys that's in there, give them a good wipe inside and out, again with a cloth that's been wrung out quite well. You don't want anything sopping wet through. You're going to wipe inside and out of the bed, and then you're going to tip it upside down for 10 minutes, allowing time for the disinfectant to work, and also just allowing time for it to dry before the cats go back in it again. The fleeces, you'll notice, are mostly colour coded as the equipment is. So in here we've got a dark blue coloured fleece, and most of the hard beds are dark blue also. These will get changed weekly unless they are soiled, or unless there's any other reason for them to be changed. Now we need to get to the sides where the cats are currently sat on their lovely comfy beds, so we are going to have to move them. So Jen's just going to come over to Jack first of all. He's sat on his lovely comfy bed. She'll just give him a nice fuss and just try and get him up on his own. If the cats don't want to get up on their own, then you can try some of it. If they are going to be really, really obstreperous, then you can leave them there and just work around them. But if we can, we like to take the cats off the bedding so that we can give it a good shake out and check it for any stains or smells. So as you can see, Jack's quite amenable to just being picked up and popped on the floor there. And then Jen's just going to pick up the bedding and move it out of the way so she can get to the side underneath it afterwards, and just shaking the bedding out, checking it for any stains, any urine, any faeces, any vomit, or any food, any dried crusted on food, shaking all that off. And if the blanket still looks nice and clean and it's not changing day, then that can go back on nice and neatly. Then we're just going to slide the bed over to the opposite side so that we can get to the bit that we need to wipe down. And then while we're here, we can give the side a wipe down, we can give the strips along the back wipe down. The windowsill and the windows will need wiping down as well, getting all into the nooks and crannies. The window itself, we wash it as if it's a wall, but then afterwards we do grab a towel just to buff it down so that we don't have streaky windows. The cats hold us to a very high standard. They like to be able to see out of a clear window. And I said that with a completely straight face. So again, we're just giving those a good wipe down, and then you do this in any cat room that has a window. Okay, now we're moving on to the cat trees that also need to be de-fluffed and disinfected. So you'll want to take your gloved hand and just run it all over the cat tree on the different platforms. You'll find that this works really, really well in collecting all of the hair and fluff. You just want to gather it all into one ball if you can. Before you wash it with your cloth. There are a couple of ways that you can do this, either with a gloved hand or you can use a dustpan and brush, and just basically brush down the cat tree as you might do at home. To get all the fur and hair off of them. Now we don't use vacuum cleaners in the cat rooms simply because they are loud, noisy. Most cats don't like them, and unlike being in a home environment, they can't retreat to another safe room if they want to get away from the vacuum, so we just don't use them in the cat rooms. Now once you're happy that you've got rid of all the fluff and fur from the cat tree, you can then go ahead and grab your bucket and your disinfectant, give the cloth a really, really good wring out so it's almost dry, and then you just want to give it a good scrubbing all across the platforms of the cat trees, getting rid of any stains if there are any, and just making sure that the disinfectant has touched each and every platform. Okay, we're just going to move on to the lower part of the wall now, so the parts that's under the sides. So we're going to get the kneeling pad in which to get down on, move the litter trays out of the way. If you make a nice neat pile and just push them to one side, it's much easier to keep them together, you're not falling over them. And then you're going to take your cloth, wring it out really well again, and then you're going to give your bottom walls a wipe down as you did with your top, paying special attention to the area behind and around the litter trays, as you can get some splatter of faeces and urine, so obviously you need to be paying attention to that. All of the skirting, as you can see, it's in an old Victorian house, so the skirting is quite beautiful, but we do just need to make sure that we're getting in all the nooks and crannies there. And also making sure that we're doing the silver poles that are holding the sides up there, that are supporting the sides. So again, giving the cloth a really good wring out, and then giving those a clean. Okay, now we're on to the really low sides, kind of like playing limbo, how low can you go? So this this is the lowest side, but it still does need a good clean underneath and behind it. So again, you'd take your kneeling pad and then you would have to just bend and reach underneath to get these areas. It is quite a physical job, but it must be done for the cats. So you're going to do exactly the same with your skirting and the black trim that goes around the bottom and the silver poles as well. Now we're going to move on to sweeping the floor, so you can grab your big broom for this and just give the whole room floor a sweep, making sure you get up all the bits of litter, all the fur, the fluff, anything that you've brushed off the side, and then you want to just make a nice neat pile with it. You can move the cat trees and the scratching posts out of the way. You can just slide them across the floor as you need to, and just making sure that you're getting up all the bits and bobs, really popping it in a pile, and then you can remove this with your small dustpan and brush. Now it's probably worth noting that this room has already been cleaned once this morning, hence why there's not much fur and litter being brought into a pile. So please be aware there will be much more fur and litter and other bits and bobs of food probably that you will be sweeping up, so you'll have a much bigger pile than that. Okay, now we're going to move on to mopping the floor. So we tend to do this half and half, so half a room at a time. So we're going to push the cat trees and any big items that we can't lift. We're just going to push them along the floor onto one side of the room so that we can then mop the other side of the room without the bottoms of these trees getting wet. So they're easy to just congregate into one corner, and then we can take our mop and take our mop head, submerge the mop head in the disinfectant, and then you're going to wring it out really well as you did with your cloth. Again, we don't want the floor sopping wet through, so you're going to give that a good wring out, lay that face down on the floor so it's microfiber side on the floor, and then just mopping the entire half of the floor there. Now, while your half of the floor is drying, it shouldn't take too long, hopefully, if you've not wet it too much. But while that side of the floor is drying, you can just go and pay some attention to the cats in between, giving them a little fuss and maybe a little bit of playtime. Now, obviously, you can do this while you're cleaning. That's absolutely fine. We don't want you to ignore the cats whilst you're doing your cleaning. But there will be ample time once you've finished as well to be socialising with the cats and giving them some fuss and attention and playtime. And then in a few seconds, we're going to see Jen magically disappear and start reassembling the cat trees. So you just want to push your cat trees back over onto the side that you've just mopped once it is fully dry. Again, we don't want the bottoms of the cat trees getting wet because they can go mouldy, they can collect mildew. So once it's completely dry on that side, you can slide the cat trees back over, and then you're free to be able to mop the other side as you have done with that. And again, you can spend some time with the cats whilst that side of the floor is drying, or you can move on to your lobby and give that a clean in the meantime. That's fine as well. So as I said before, if you do just want to have a little play with the cats whilst the floor's drying, that's absolutely fine. There are other toys available, but this wiggly worm was Jack's favourite, so he got to play with this one today. And yeah, you can just watch a cute cat playing for a little while now. Okay, so once your floor's dry and you've finished playing with the cats, you want to come into the lobby and do the same kind of cleaning in here as you have done in the main room. So you're going to wipe your doors down, the door handles, the windows, buffing the windows afterwards, the walls, and anything else that humans can touch as well, basically, including the floor. Okay, also in the lobby you'll have the cleaning checklists and the comments board just below it. We do have dry white marker for you to make the comments on that, and also to use the checklist. If you could date the checklist at the top, that would be fab, and then obviously tick off all the jobs that you've done in that room during the day. Now all of these boxes should be ticked, and if there are any comments that need to be made underneath about any toileting or behaviour from the cats, then you can do that also. Okay, then when we come back into our room and everything's dry, the floor's dry, and we're happy that we can reset the room, then you just want to be popping all the bedding back in the beds, and popping the beds back in the correct places. You're popping the cat trees back somewhere that they are beneficial for the cats, so next to the side so they can jump up onto the tree, then on the side. They want to be able to get to the scratch posts as well. You'll also want to pop your hidey beds somewhere appropriate. And your open beds, we normally pop them sort of on the floor under a side or on the middle side, so they've still got a little bit of coverage there. And then we've got our litter trays to relay, so we're going to get plenty of newspaper. We want to be making a bit of a cat carpet with the newspaper, so that if they do miss the litter tray, at least it's just going to go on the paper and not on the nice clean floor. It wants to be at least 3 sheets thick, but please feel free to use more. You're going to basically lay it out so that there's overhang, just in case we've got any bum hanger cats that do like to stand in the litter tray but hang the bum over the side. As I say, the waste is just going to go on the newspaper then rather than the floor. So just how Jenny's doing it now is absolutely perfect. Now we've got 2 cats in this room. Our rule of thumb normally is for the litter trays and water dishes is 1 per cat plus 1. So we have 2 cats in this room, so we have 3 litter trays and 3 water dishes. We also want to bring some fresh, clean toys into the room, so some jingly balls, ping pong balls. We've got a big toy box for the cats, so you can choose whatever you think they'd like. And then fill in the water bowls back up. We're going to bring the empty water dishes in, some clean empty water dishes, and then fill them up using a jug, just so that we've no fear of spillage in the corridors. Any of the small soft toys, they can just be scattered around the room again for the cats to find and play with. And once everything's done and you've completed everything on the checklist, it's playtime again, or cuddle time, snuggle time, whatever the cats would like to do. Some of them are quite lazy, they don't really want to do much in the morning. Some just want to come and sit on your knee and have some company and attention and fuss. Jack is quite enjoying his feather teaser toy. So whatever the cats are in the mood for is absolutely fine. We don't often give the cats treats, just because while they're in the shelter they are fairly sedentary, which means they don't really need the extra calories, so we do try and give them more toys as stimulus and playtime as stimulus as well. That being said, if you do ask a member of staff first, you may be able to give a small amount of treats to some of the cats. Also worth noting is that the tickler toys or the dangly toys, fishing rod toys, anything that might have a string or a wire or anything on that, they must be taken out of the room with you when you leave. We don't ever leave them with the cats unattended, just so that there are no accidents there. And they would normally go in the cat's lobby, so they can be used again with the same cats rather than sharing them between cats in different rooms. It is really important that the cats do get exercise while they're with us. As I say, you know, they can be quite sedentary when they're with us, so getting them up and about and out of bed is always beneficial. Loki, as you can see, who's in the little igloo bed, he's not bothered. He's just going to let his brother from another mother play today. But most of the cats will be inclined to a bit of exercise with some gentle persuasion. So to finish this up, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope it's been a little bit of an insight into the daily routine that we have at the shelter, and the fun that we have at the shelter with the cats as well. Don't get me wrong, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's great when you can have days like this. So thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you soon starting as a volunteer. And if you have any other questions or queries, please do feel free to ask when you come.